Yo, coming to you live from World Championship in San Jose. Welcome to the Living Legends podcast.
Yeah, so destroy stubby hammer as attack action cards with 3 or less base power gain +1. So, and then while attacking this turn, go again. Yeah, so all of your red 0 cost 3s, you know, like you said, the dominate and stuff actually become pretty good.
Well, the damage doesn't matter as much. Pull up Force of Nature and read that. That's what matters, because Force of Nature
is the big one.
It cares about attacks that have had their value pumped, I think.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so then everything gets, when it hits, draw a card.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so the
right.
idea is that you like do that, and then you're like, draw a card, draw a card, draw a card. You just keep throwing stuff at them.
And you
wow.
just gonna become Benji.
Yeah,
That's
basically, yeah.
But you can still run it in UPF. That's great.
I mean, yeah, you can. And if I see someone running Shiana with stubby hammers and UPF, that's saying, hey,
That's target me. Yeah.
kill them first. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a fun deck. Would probably be a lot better now that she has more cards to use. Because before, like, you had a lot of like random filler cards to put in. Like I would put in stuff like Lesson in Lava just for 3 arcane damage. Because like,
Yep.
why not? There's 3 arcane
Why
damage.
not? Yep.
Put in like the Bravo specializations. Well, Crippling Crush. If you're running a lot of blues, which my deck was running a lot of blues. And yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few blues you can use in Shiana. I'm just getting my folder out now because I basically are we recording, by the way?
Hi, we are. Yes.
Lovely old job. I don't know who the host is, but this is going to be a loose episode anyway, isn't it? So I could just pretend that I'm the host.
Sure.
You're the one that has the talking points, I think. So
Pretend away.
I'm the one who has the notes for this pure loose episode. But yeah, welcome back to Living Legends podcast. I'm your host for today. Apparently, my name's Az from Go Again Gaming, and joined by some lovely old folks here. How's it going, chaps?
well, you know,
Both lovely and old.
Well, some of us are older than others. I'm not gonna say who. But yeah, no, it's going well. We were just sort of before we started recording talking about how our lives are kind of being let's say appropriated by Baldur's Gate 3 currently.
That's right.
Consumed. Mind and body.
Mind the body consumed by Baldur's Gate 3.
Az doesn't get it, but that was a reference. That was a reference to the plot of Baldur's Gate.
Spoiler alert for not only me but the audience that are listening to this as well.
Nah, it's not a spoiler alert.
Oh, is it not?
Yeah.
Watch
like
the
right
opening
away.
cutscene. Yeah, watch the opening cutscene. You'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, so doing quite well, of course, and just interested to see what's sort of going on with everybody today.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can make it pretty interesting.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, we'll see. I have a couple things to talk about, but not too much. So,
but that's a good thing about the Living Legends podcast as well, is that we can just riff essentially for a whole episode, even if there's not much going on with FAB. Skirmish season has started, and we were sort of not sure how much was recorded, but we were speaking about Shiana to a certain degree, and I was getting my folder out when we were in mid conversation. So that's one thing I wanted to touch on, because when I was at the Calling Birmingham, I basically bought all of the Shiana cards, like all of the new specializations from Dusk Till Dawn, as well as everything else, just because I wanted to build a Shiana deck for UPF. But is she viable in Skirmish?
Starstruck is like valuable now. It's like $10 plus, which is crazy.
Yeah, I got all of those as well, one of which is foil. So that's a lovely old job. And then I forgot that there was, obviously, she got her own specialization with the alluring inducement stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just cool, like, you can block with multiple. If you block with, this is another interaction, which is just off the top of my head. If you block with 2 Unity cards which are different, do you get both triggers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Holy
Yeah.
hell, that's
Yeah, of
cool.
course. I mean,
Yeah,
if you
can get
wait, does it say? And I think if you block with 2 Unity cards out of the same card, I think you still get both.
yeah, I think it's just if it's
Yeah.
another card, if blocking along with another card from hand.
Yeah, when this defends together with a card from hand. So if you
Okay.
block with 2 Unity cards, you get both of the things, whether they're duplicates or not. You get the
Yeah.
things. That's pretty good. So you're getting loads of value out of defending if you're playing. If you're defending with both of those cards, you get both of the triggers. So if you defend with a Starstruck and an Anthem of Spring, you get an Embodiment of Earth token and a Seismic Surge token, which is
Mhm.
quite good. Very good. So you're discovering things even on these podcasts which don't really have a topic for today.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love it. But yeah, I just wanted to before this just bring up one of the points we had today was Shiana and playing her in Blitz because obviously skirmish season has started. Apparently the meta is wide open according to the article from LSS, which was released a few days ago, with obviously Ira and Kasai being the main ones which are doing well. Kane, Kano, and Dash, that makes sense because they're just pure aggro, and obviously Kano is just can kill you in one turn, obviously, and Blitz a lot easier.
I mean, to be fair, Chain can also kill you in 1 turn and Blitz too.
Well, Blitz in general, I guess you can get killed in 1 turn.
Chain's pretty gross, and there's like new Shadow Runeblade card, so it's like no surprise that Chain was good. Chain was like one of the big ones that I was figuring going into the season. I'm like, Chain's gotta be insane.
Yeah.
And then Kasai is always very strong. Ira's also always very strong. If you look at the top living legend point earners for Blitz, Ira and Kasai are both up there. And then like Dash is also like good and also quite
It's a
easy.
good, yeah, good consistent aggro deck. Just wants to throw loads of go agains and stuff, didn't she? So
Just boost them. Yeah.
What is the deal with Kasai? Why is Kasai so good? I've never realized. I've never known why. Do any of you guys know why she's so good? Is it the second sword attack being free? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's being able to provide that sort of consistent pressure with the second sword attack, as well as just building up to the combo turn with blood on her hands.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That like blood on her hands just needs 1 to get the job done. Like it actually doesn't do anything if you have 2 of them. So you're able to sort of like unlike Bolton, I would say, where you want like multiple Luminas to really go off. With Kasai, you just need to see the 1 blood on her hands and have like 6 or 7 coppers. Most of the time, you don't even need that many, even. But yeah, it's just like consistent pressure and then like a really strong sort of finisher is what makes Kasai so good.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess because Bolton doesn't. When you're doing the charge thing with Bolton, you're doing it, but you're at a disadvantage as a result. Whereas Kasai just says when you hit like multiple times, you get the copper, which then lends itself to your OTK or to your end game. But at the same time, your second attack is always 1 less, so you're still pressuring at the same time. Whereas Bolton doesn't do that. So I guess in Blitz, that's what makes her very good. Yes, that makes sense.
I mean, she's basically just like an aggro deck that also has like a combo finish. It's not really even a combo. You just need the one card.
1 card. Yeah.
So she's just really good. Yeah.
That makes sense. And Ira's your classic as well. But I think there was, I think the person who won the Calling Birmingham with Ira was on a fatigue Ira deck.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. I've never played. I don't play too much Blitz, so hopefully people can enlighten me as to how these things work.
You just it's like a classic like ninja Kadachi, blocking with your flick flacks and all that kind of stuff. Just kind of grind them out. Well, Kadachi's a good value.
And in Blitz, you get Drone of Brutality back again, which is like a totally reasonable card.
Yeah, you get Drone of Brutality, and then you also get stuff like Warmongers, because Ira, just great in Ninja. Yeah, you can just kind of like grind them out.
Ira only ever really cares about just attacking, so you can just always pick War with Ira, and then like doesn't affect you.
Yeah,
no, I guess not.
Ninjas just in general, like Warmongers is really good Ninja, and that's why a lot of folks just in general have bumped up ninjas on like their tier lists and stuff. You're seeing Katsu getting into like a higher ratings for for folks just because of warmongers, because
Oh,
they
that
don't
goddamn card.
because they don't care about it. Yeah, I mean, there's just some classes in the game that just don't care. Like Guardians
No.
also just don't care. They're just like, whatever.
exactly.
I punch you once. That's all I want to do.
Absolute one punch man.
Pick
Yeah.
one big starstruck. Boom.
Yeah.
Yep.
And circling this back round to Shiana. Shiana has access to everyone's specialization, so she now actually has 2 Bravo attacks, which is
Yep.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Both Starstruck and Crippling Crush. But yeah, I bought all the stuff. I bought Arclight Sentinel. I bought Teklo Core. Teklo Core was quite good in the UPF game because I played it turn 1. That was just getting me resources each turn. I came round. But in that UPF game, I was sacked with Matt Folks, the one of the best players ever. So he actually won that game as well on a was it Viserai? I think it was. Just boatloads of rune chants, double sonata turns. Just some people operate on a completely different level, don't they, with regards to how they play. But yeah, that was fun. Loads of other cards as well that I've got, like the Arc Knight Ascendancy. I thought was quite cool having 2 of those. Lessening Lava, of course, for arcane damage and all this. But yeah, I'm just wanting to potentially play Shiana at Skirmish. I've never went to Skirmish season before, so I'm thinking of bringing something like this just for a bit of fun, but I just don't know whether it's going to be any good. I mean, Shiana used to be built with the hammerers, you said before, but apart from that, no other really...
Yeah, you could run stuff like microprocessor, the data doll specialization. You can run some really, really good stuff.
Yeah, I got 2 of those as well. Yeah.
But I mean, ultimately, she's kind of like a meme deck, right? There's a reason why she only has one. She only has like 2 living legend points and has won like 1 event. It's just because she doesn't have a lot of the consistency there. I don't know. Maybe now she's maybe a little bit better, but at the end of the day, she's probably closer to just like a bad Bravo or something like that, right? Because like she doesn't actually have a hero ability that's super relevant a lot of the time, right? So
Something else that I think is quite funny about Shiana specifically is if you turn yourself at the beginning of your turn into a Kano or New Prism, your health goes down. You actually take damage.
Wait,
yeah, because you turn into a copy of that hero, including their health.
Wait, does it include their health?
It does.
What?
Well, so you can gain life as well? Surely not.
I don't think you can gain life, but it changes your base. I forget exactly how it works. I know that if you copy a Kano, your health goes down.
Really?
I did not.
Yeah.
We got
it's like it looks at your starting health and how much damage you've taken thus far this game, and then like adjusts accordingly, I think.
Someone get Joshua Scott on the wire. We have Shiana questions.
Oh wow, yeah, imagine that. Imagine you're playing against Yoji and you're on like 3 life, and then you're like, yeah, copy Yoji's ability, I'll go back up to 22 life. If you gained life as a result of it.
I don't think it
You definitely don't gain life.
Puts you at that health. I think it just changes your base, and then the adjustments sort of happen because of that. Like it does happen. I'm gonna look up Shiana Kano.
Yeah, even like Shiana Prism and stuff would still be the same, wouldn't it? Because they're on lesser life as well.
Interesting.
That's really interesting.
When Shiana copies a hero, it does not change the amount of damage she has taken. For example, if Shiana has taken 16 damage while at 20 life, then copies a hero with 15 base life, she will lose the game due to having taken equal or more damage than her life. That is from the release notes of Shiana.
Wow.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
No, I didn't know that either. And Shiana was released in Crucible, and now we're only just discovering it. Wow.
Yeah.
There we go. Every day's a school day.
something to keep in mind.
There's more than just those heroes too. There's like KO as well. So there's Kano, KO.
Yeah.
There's a few that have less than Riptide. There's a few that have less than less than 20.
Yeah, the one that really comes up and like makes itself known, obviously, is the Kano one, because it's a significant difference.
Just don't copy Kano. Like
just don't do it. You
You can't even use its ability very well. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, play that wizard attack, non-attack from the top of your deck at instant speed? Like, you don't even. Yeah, you're not gonna do that.
Well, that's funny. Yeah, did not know that at all. That's an interesting thing. But yeah. Obviously, I'm the host of this podcast, but we're just going round and talking about random stuff. How was everyone's week this week? Has anyone been doing anything with regards to Fab? I know obviously Bright Lights was just released. I know you did a video recently, Cal, about how it could change the landscape.
I've done a couple videos recently about Bright Lights.
Mm.
So my week has been just doing a lot of Flesh and Blood content. I prepared 2 videos over the weekend, so by the time this one comes out, you'll have had the opportunity to watch both of them. The first one was talking about how I believe that Bright Lights is poised to grow Flesh and Blood, and it's a topic we talked about here on the podcast before, just talking about the new crack shuffle play system and how I believe it is a very big deal in regards to new player acquisition, and I kind of really go quite deep into it. It's only about an 8-minute long video, but I talk about all of the aspects and why I think it's so great, and why I think it's actually better for new players over something like Sealed, because it takes away some of the agency on there that can give people like decision paralysis, where it's just like, hey, all you do, take out the tokens, shuffle them together and play. You don't have to actually make any decisions. And I know that's a thing that I've heard new players say for Flesh and Blood, is they get like this decision paralysis. So at least cutting back a little bit on that, I think is really good. And then the other video that at the time of this recording, people don't know what it is, but the next video is just called "The Card Back Conspiracy Debunked," or is it? And I talk about the card back conspiracy, which is the theory that the Flesh and Blood sets are foretold by the back of the card, and I talk about that and how it's debunked, maybe not debunked, and how every good conspiracy theory is able to flip the script on on a whim, if their theory is initially wrong, which is possibly what happened here.
Yeah, it's called moving the goalposts.
It's called.
Oh yes.
It's called. Oh, we're wrong, but it was really the other way the whole time. That's how it works. And then the other really big thing for me personally is it's been finally announced that I will be doing casting and coverage for the U.S. Nationals for Flesh and Blood.
Yes.
This is my first time back in the official Flesh and Blood coverage booth since Pro Tour 1, and I'll be casting alongside the likes of our good friend Brian Gottlieb, Flake, Sam from 3 Floating, and then Ethnic Smoke. So it's going to be sweet. I have never casted with 2 of these gentlemen before, and I'm really excited to. And then I've obviously worked with Flake and Brian before, and they're both great guys. So yeah, so I'm going to be much more heavily diving into the competitive meta myself and learning all the ins and outs, so I can provide good commentary and coverage for the event. And yeah, so my week has just been doing a bunch of Flesh and Blood videos, and then starting to prepare for Nationals, which is only in a few weeks, actually. I believe it is in 3 weekends. It's, I believe, Friday the 25th is when it kicks off. So
that's Vegas as well, right?
Las Vegas, yep. It'll be my first times. Personally speaking, it'll be my first time working with Star City Games. All the previous work was with Channel Fireball, and Channel Fireball, if you don't know, all of the inside baseball, this is public knowledge. If you go digging, Channel Fireball is no longer doing events, just kind of in general. Not just Flesh and Blood events, but just in general, they're not really doing events anymore. And so Star City Games is kind of like the premier event organizer for both Flesh and Blood, Magic, and other card games like that. So yeah,
awesome.
It'll be my first time working with them. They seem pretty cool so far, and yeah, I'm stoked for that. So that's my awesome bit. Stuff. How about you, Bill?
Nothing really for me, unfortunately. Nothing super exciting. I am looking forward to talking more about Bright Lights and seeing what we have in store for us. I think I had mentioned I picked up a few extra pieces for my collection for Dusk Till Dawn. But really, that's about it. It hasn't been a super exciting week for Flesh and Blood for me, unfortunately.
I did
You had a
finally.
video come out. You had a video come out, though, didn't you? On Spike Feeder's Fab. Was it Ira versus Azuri? Is that right?
Yes, I believe so. Was that this past one?
I think that was the one that I saw. I haven't watched it yet, but I think there was something up there.
I did watch it. I will not.
Was it Ira? Was it?
I will not
Yeah.
spoil what happened. Yes, Ira was. Well, I don't know if Ira was the last one, but Ira definitely was one of the more recent ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 days ago. I
okay.
love playing Ira. We were talking about Ira, and yeah, Ira is one of my favorite Blitz decks. It's kind of unfortunate that it just kind of works out this way. I like playing Blitz not because I prefer the format, but because the heroes that I like playing are legal in Blitz and not in CC.
True. Yeah, that's right.
I
it's one of those formats where a lot less is banned, I guess, isn't it? Well,
Yeah.
the fan favorites are still around, sort of, I guess. But
I like Blitz because it doesn't take the length of a feature film to complete a game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially with Oldhim being so relevant, especially back in the day.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing Azalea versus Channel Mount Heroic Briar.
That one will go down
5-minute games. Oh god, that was a bad day for me. Speaking of which, actually, are you going to be building some decks soon? Some CC decks, some new ones for that Azalea Ringer?
Yes. I don't know what to build coming up for it, because I want to build like some of the new heroes, but I'm still missing some pretty key parts of those decks. Like I want to play Levia, but I don't have the legendary Levia or more than one Slithering Shadowpede. And then for Prism, I'm missing a few 2 and 3 copies of her Majestics. I don't have all of the Figments yet. So yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know what to build. What should I build? What should I play?
Not Prism.
I mean,
not Prism.
I don't mind.
Are you sure? I'm gonna play I'm gonna play like 10 copies of Arclight Sentinel.
ALS, yeah. Can't wait. Brilliant.
You just play.
But
you play Arclight Sentinel in every card. I think there's one that lets you get Arclight Sentinel back. Just do that. It's all good.
Oh, is there recursion for that? You can get that back.
I think there is one. Yeah, I think.
Yes, the new Herald of Rebirth, the Figment, flips into on the when it comes into play, you get to put, I think it's just a yellow action card on top of your deck. But when it's flipped, when it attacks, you remove a card from your soul, and you get to put any yellow card on top of your deck.
Oh god!
From your graveyard. So
that is accurate. So yeah,
wow.
That one lets you get any yellow card back, which is pretty sweet.
Any yellow.
You are correct. Yellow action card from the Figment, any yellow card from the Angel.
Which is pretty gross.
It's on attack trigger, not on hit, so you just get it.
And that's like the first. Is that the first sort of like Eternal Witness effect we've had? Like just get any card. Well, it's not really. It's not any card. It's any yellow card.
We've had
obviously Remembrance and Quiver of Abyssal Depths and stuff. Shuffle certain cards back into your deck. They shovel them back in there.
The original one is Remembrance, but there's also Memorial Ground as well.
Yeah, but up till now, those have only done action cards. This is the first one that gets any type of card.
As long as it's yellow.
As long as it's yellow, yeah.
I wonder when we'll see that. Like, you know, the first sort of Eternal Witness, get target card back to your whatever, to your hand or whatever.
Yeah, they've been pretty reserved with the recursion. For whatever reason. Maybe they're saving it for Necromancer. Maybe it's just something that doesn't fit the design philosophies of Flesh and Blood, but there's not a ton of recursion. It's one of the reasons why Codex of Frailty was so good, is because it's like good targeted recursion.
Yeah. that's what I've learned over time, like with Codex of Frailty, is that I can still block with key cards because I can fetch them back out again when I get the Codex round into my hand. And sometimes you want to chuck something in the graveyard to be able to get it back later on, which is nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, a couple of things that I've made a note of with regards to my week specifically. There's quite a lot going on. So first of all, I've built an azalea shrine. So as you can see behind me, there is a large banner. You can't see her face, unfortunately, because it's not the right angle. But you can see other things, which is good. But yeah, so I got the that up there now, and obviously some other azalea posts in the background. And I've also bought a premeditate poster from Izuardi Therianto. So I'm going to be expanding that a little bit further. I might frame the posters eventually, but at the moment they're just blue tacked onto the wall because I'm an absolute heathen. But yeah, that's quite nice. So I've got that sorted out. I think it was Anorax Gizmos reached out to me and said, "Do you want a Azalea banner, store banner, and do you want the Arcane Rising potion?" I was like, "Absolutely, yes, please." So thanks. Shout out to Anorax Gizmos, is the person who does the little dice stuff. I believe you have some dice, don't you, from Anorax, Kel?
Yeah, and also at this moment, all of the listeners and viewers are surprised that Az didn't already have a shrine to Azalea.
Yeah. What's going on there? I do have a shrine, but it's on my phone, various images. Right. So the next topic.
Shrine.
The next topic is yeah, I'm just looking at my notes here because we've got loads of different things on here. So there is going to be a new LGS in my area, and I actually reached out to the OP email address, FAB OP, and said there's a new local game store in my area. What do they need to do to stock FAB and stuff? And they actually responded fairly quickly, which is nice. So you have to just fill out the gem, like get organised on gem, and then like there's a couple of other store things that they need to fill out or something like that. So that's good. So there's new LGS in the area, which is I spoke to them and they're interested in stocking FAB. So I'm starting to build all of the LSS pre-con deck lists from my own bulk. So all the history pack stuff, all the new LSS outsiders decks. I've got the bulk to do it. And then maybe some other ones as well. I don't know where to find lists for the other ones, like maybe like a Kasai one or other budget-ish decks that I can just bring to the shop. So yeah, that should be good. Just taking a load of decks to the shop and allowing people to play, and maybe doing like a welcome event and stuff. Any suggestions as to what could be a good thing to do for? Because I know you started up stuff, Bill, in your area, didn't you? What did you start doing to begin with to build up a scene as such?
It sounds like basically what you are currently doing. Did basically a lot of that. Like created just, $5-10 decks out of like commons and rares that were like pretty straightforward, didn't have things that were too complicated. And just like kind of kept them with me and would, use them to demonstrate the game and to teach them to people. And then if they like were really resonating with a deck, then it's kind of nice with something like that. You can just kind of give it away to somebody that wants it.
Yeah.
Then they're getting into the game with something that they've already tried and they know that they like, so that they can continue to sort of build up that familiarity just by playing sort of the same thing over and over again. Yeah, so I did that. The decks that I found, I think, the most success with were, again, like the really simple ones. Like Dash is like super straightforward, obviously.
Yeah.
I also liked something like Bravo. Just again, like it's you only have to really worry about one thing. And obviously Kano was another good one. I'm joking.
Really? Yeah. I was going to say, what is it worth putting the Kano deck together? Probably not to begin with.
I wouldn't say so. There's only one person that I know of that started with Kano as their first ever deck, and that's Kaylee.
Oh right, yeah.
Haley is also a huge math nerd, so that helps quite a bit. I think
That
in
makes sense.
aspect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd basically just go through and maybe pick like one of each type of play style, as long as you have the bulk to sort of support that. Um, and just put together cheap decks out of commons and rares. You can make them basically as janky as you want, because a lot of especially the early commons are, and I think even commons today, are still like really sort of low complexity. You just have regular stuff. Like you can put together an Ira deck that still functions, and most of the cards don't even have to say anything on it. Like it can just be like wounding blow or whatever it's called. It's like a 0 for 4 with no other text.
Blocks for 3 as well. That one, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. I thought that card was cool until I realized how Flesh and Blood works. But yeah, like that's basically my suggestion. Also, maybe like put together a cheap battle box that you could just like leave at the LGS.
Yeah, that's what I'll be doing. Yeah, I'll just be leaving all the decks there essentially. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool because a lot of people have expressed interest. There's no FAB being played there at the moment. They don't stock anything, but they got Pokemon players, they got Magic players there. They got loads of different things. And I obviously pitched to him that obviously it's a game that cares about organised play, and that's one of the things that's centered around the game store and all this. And they I basically sold it to them, and they're interested. So yeah, it looks looking good. I just need to build these decks, but just wanted to get an idea of what decks to build first, because obviously you need your aggro deck, you need your your big tanky deck or whatever. But so it's just deciding which ones to build. But I could just build all of them, to be fair. But I just don't want to confuse anyone, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, and that's a really important thing too. Like there are decks that seem like they wouldn't be super complicated, but end up being a lot more complicated once you actually put them together and sort of see how they're supposed to work. Like my example for that personally is Chain. Chain
Yeah.
seems like it would be a really straightforward deck, but it's like, oh, you have to worry about banishing cards from your deck, and also you create these things called shackles that you have to worry about, and you can play things from your banished zone, and it's like it's so outside of how normal Flesh and Blood works that it's like honestly not worth putting together unless somebody already knows the foundations of the game. So yeah, I don't know. Dorinthia is a good starting deck as well, because it demonstrates sort of the non-attack action side
Reactions.
and reactions. Like it really puts a huge focus onto what reactions are, which is something that even the Ira Blitz decks, I think it has one. I think it's like lunging press or something is the only reaction. Oh no, there's also springboard somersault. Those are the 2 reactions in the Ira Blitz deck. But yeah, like Dorinthia makes people learn what reactions are like on the fly right away. So I think that one's a good one as well. Yeah, like Dorinthia, Bravo.
All the old ones, really, right? Reiner.
Yeah.
Reiner's a fun one, I guess.
All the old ones, they started off with some bangers, honestly. Like they are good heroes. They're pretty easy to understand. Even something like Katsu's fine. He's a little bit more complicated because you have to know what the deck does and what the combo lines are. So if you're looking for a ninja, I'd probably go with the Ira, which is which kind of makes the most sense. But
yeah, I
but
think so.
So my suggestion would be to tell the store to run a starter deck event with official OP support from Legend Story Studios, because you can do that now.
Recon decks, yeah.
So yeah, that's something that they can do after they get official support from LSS. You can run starter deck events with the official pricing. So that would be my suggestion. And,
after the sort of beginner stuff that I do, essentially, yeah, that's the first event, like the first sanctioned event would be the pre-con, buy a deck and then go in with it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like for me personally, that's what I would be into if I was like frequenting an LGS and I was looking to get in a game. If I saw something like that popped up, and it's just like starter deck event, $10, right? It has this pricing. Yeah, I'd be like, sweet. I'd be more inclined to do that than just kind of like, pick up whatever else. So
Yeah.
I
I think so as well.
I think it's a great thing that LSS is doing, and it's like the great equalizer, especially if not a lot of people play in the area. So
Yeah, well, similar to what you were saying, I think at the start of this podcast with the crack shuffle and play sort of situation.
Yeah.
Everyone's on that same level, aren't they? Because they're cracking a product to then play with it, and the fact that that is now supported by LSS in an armory, casual armory form, is great. So yeah, that's another thing that we'll probably do when we start off after we've established people that could be interested in it with like the beginner tutorial how to play situation, and then we can maybe start off with that. That's a good idea actually as well.
yeah, no, the crack shuffle play thing is like really good, and I say that because like the Flesh and Blood starter decks currently for Outsiders and for History Pack I think are really well crafted. I think they're just really good decks to learn how to play, but they're not really exciting, especially if you are a TCG player. If you've been playing card games for any amount of time, the cards inside are all like very basic cards. They're basically bulk. It's just commons and rares. Az is basically making these decks out of his bulk, right?
Yeah.
And so like for me, if I was like a longtime Magic player, which I technically am, even though I don't play much anymore, the starter deck experience is always kind of like a little like bland, and a lot of card games do this. But I think the crack shuffle play thing is much more exciting because it should be a nice way to introduce people into the game, but also have this kind of like almost like a roguelike element because you have randomly assorted cards and packs, but you also have the chance to get majestics. You have the chance to get legendaries, and it's much more exciting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think it's brilliant, and I think that for you right now isn't a great option because that set doesn't come out for another like 2 months. So
yeah, well, I mean, when I was speaking to the game, when I was speaking to the game store, they said, "Oh, what's the latest release or whatever?" And I was just like, "It's Dusk Till Dawn," but let's just not care about that because you can't play with that. But this is perfect, right, for a new store that's opening, a product that you can crack open and play with, straight out of the set. Essentially, it's all the same class. As we mentioned before, we did mention this on the last podcast, but the fact that anyone can just pick up the cards and play with it, even if you just play with a pile with the cards that you've got, you don't have to really worry about deck construction because everything fits together already. Really,
yeah, like supplementals. That's like one of the biggest weaknesses of supplemental sets, and I see this in multiple games, not just Flesh and Blood. So one of the other big games that I cover and that I personally play is Grand Archive, and Grand Archive is releasing their first supplemental set this month.
Yeah.
But what they're doing is absolutely brilliant. Something that Flesh and Blood has never done. Is that they're releasing, even though it's a supplemental set, they're releasing I can't remember what they're called, but they're like sealed kits. So you can still play with the supplemental set as a limited environment with these little sealed kits because they have like a pre-seeded thing, kind of like a Magic pre-release packs, if you know what that is. It's like a set of generic cards that'll be good in anything, and then it has several packs from the supplemental set in it, and then several packs from the set that it is supplementing. And so like if you're a new player coming in right now, the advice isn't just, oh, go buy the previous set, ignore the current one. The advice is like, hey, you can still play with the current supplemental set by buying this sealed thing, this like sealed kit thing, and then it's just a great way to just start to play the game with like other folks. And Flesh and Blood up to this point hasn't really done that with their supplemental sets. So yeah, it's always an awkward time when people are getting into the game during the supplemental set, and you're like, oh yeah, ignore the new set, go get the old one, which is always a weird recommendation for a lot of folks. They're like, oh, why is it bad?
Yeah,
is it bad? And it's like, well, no, it's just not meant to be played without, think of it. I tell them, think of it like a DLC, right? This is like DLC. You don't just buy the DLC, you need the base game. And so go back to the previous set. That's going to be like the base game. Supplemental set's more like DLC.
Yeah, it's just like I wonder if that is their strategy going forward now. It's just to sort of like ease off, the supplementary stuff, because with the whole expansion slot as well. And I know we spoke about this already, but it's just interesting that it's coming up. They can sort of add cards that might be needed as and when they want, instead of doing a whole set instead of doing a whole set based around bolstering things that might need bolstering.
That feels like what they're doing, and we already know for sure that both James and even Brian here on the podcast basically said that they are going to be making a lot more draft sets, or limited sets, I should say, going forward. We don't know how many, but that they want to do more.
But I wonder if all of those limited sets can do the same thing with a shuffle, crack and play, because if they're not, that's what I mean. If they're not all one class, how are you going to be able to do that?
So that's something I did mention in the video that I put out today, talking about that. There are ways you can do it. I mean, Chaff Goblin exists, and you can do it in Chaff Goblin, but to make it into a good experience for anyone, both beginner and established player, that's not just kind of like a weird jank chaos thing. You'd have to do some sort of thing to make it all work, right? Like I can see some ways that they could do it, right? It's like, what are other ways they could do it? They could do split classes like they did in Outsiders, right? Where you have like double class cards. You do double class cards on a lot of generics, but I don't think it's something they're going to do very often. A really interesting thing someone brought up in my comment section is they were like, "Oh, it'd be cool if they did this once per year." So like you'd have a couple sets, and then one set will just be all one class per year. That would allow for this. I don't know if I like that in terms of like constructed balancing, because that means one class would just have an absolutely, like, they'd be inundated with cards, right? Just all at once. So whatever class got the class set, it would just be like supercharged. The reason why it's like cool now for mech is because mech really hasn't had main set support since Arcane Rising. Mech is literally the only class with one hero that's an adult. So like this is kind of like a long overdue thing. It's not something they can just be like, here's the all warrior set, and then God, like Dorinthia and Kasai would be
here we go. Yeah,
disgusting.
Here's the all Runeblade set that people were asking for.
Oh wait, what are we talking about? We've already had the all Runeblade set. Didn't you play Monarch or Arcane Rising or Tales of Aria?
No, that's what I'm saying. We haven't gotten one in like a month, so we're really due.
Due one, yeah, that's right.
We need more. Yeah, we also need more Guardians. Let's get more Runeblade stuff, more Guardian stuff, and while we're at it, we'll toss in more Illusionist stuff too. Everyone loves Illusionist stuff. Throw back in more Spectra.
Oh no, people were complaining about Ninja for a while. Ninja had a couple of sets in a row.
Oh, because of sort of, because it had Uprising, then we had a supplemental set, and then we had Outsiders. I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Though to be fair, okay, let's be fair with that. There actually wasn't very many like generic ninja stuff in Uprising. It was just all like Phi stuff.
Iconic.
Yeah, it's like
true.
It's like, it's not ninja, it's like Phi. Like this is the Phi set. It's just how for Illusionist, there wasn't really that many like generic Illusionist cards. It was just Dromai. Like this is dragons, this is Dromai stuff. Uprising as a set was very like, what's the right word for it? Not parasitic, but it was a set that just really didn't have a lot in it except for the stuff for those specific characters, right? Because we also
that's another thing they can do, right? That's another thing they can do as well. They can add the talents back in again when they want to. Maybe they could do something like another set like Bright Lights, but then just introduce heroes that don't care about what's come before, essentially.
So, I mean that's a good idea too. It could be like an all generic set, but not. Hear me out. Not all actually generics, but like generically applicable cards like talents. So it could be like, the Return to Volcor. It's just all generic cards and draconic cards, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so the heroes could all just use that stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's a little too bold. Like this all mech set is pretty bold by itself. So I don't know.
Goes hand in hand with what Brian was saying when he came on the cast. Like, expect anything to happen, and this is exactly what's happened now. We got an all one class set, which is crazy. And that obviously this little thread that we're on at the moment actually ties into the mailbox for this week, which is the Living Legends podcast at gmail.com. So send in your thoughts, comments, and questions. Just while we're on this thread of one hero and one hero only, or one class only. So the subject of this email was just called Genus What You Need. So that was the subject. So this is from Brendan Short. So he has referred to his name on here, so it's not completely doxing. Hey guys, my name is Shorty, and I've started an Instagram page where I post pictures of Genus every day.
I knew it. I knew it. This person recently commented on my Instagram, even though I don't use it all that much. And the account is something like Daily Genus, isn't it? It's like Daily Genus.
That is it.
Yeah,
that is the one. Yeah.
Yep.
Daily. Yeah, so he's just posting pictures daily until they get merchant support, or until we get, as a whole, merchant support. If you guys or anyone else want to support the cause, give me a follow on @Daily Genus What You Need. Keep up the great work.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that is brilliant.
I would love merchant support, and I don't want to be the wet blanket, but I don't know where they're gonna put it. There's some good places to put it, but I don't think they're gonna do that. So like,
I think what they're gonna do with it personally is that they're going to do it in like the PvE set. I think that they're just gonna release
maybe
like one of the heroes that you can like play with out of the box is just the merchant.
So
or like a support class or something.
Yeah, I actually commented on someone's post about the PvE set today, and I was just like, I think everyone just needs to take a step back and like temper their expectations on the PvE thing, because I think it's getting to the point where it is so hyped that it might be impossible to actually deliver on the levels of hype that people have for it. It's Cyberpunk 2077, right? It's like so hyped that it's like it's going to be impossible to like actually meet everyone's needs, because everyone wants something else and they want it so passionately. I've had people like, it needs to be like in-store organized play support where people could come in and have like this league. And I've had people be like, it needs to be like this RPG. I've had people be like, it needs to be a dungeon crawler. Someone today was like, it needs to be story driven like Arkham Horror. And I'm like, bro, like it can't be all of these things. Like, people need to just take a little step back and be like, we don't even know if it comes with decks, or if it's just going to be like a thing that's just like, here's some cards that you can do your own thing, or if it's a board game box set that actually has like a board. Like, we have no idea.
And then another thing as well, we can allude to this in another episode, because we are getting sponsored by Techlo Crow, who I believe you've actually done a video for in the past.
Yeah, they did a cool PvE thing.
Yeah, so they make PvE things. So obviously we can shout this out properly on one of the next episodes, because they sponsored us to shout out their product essentially. But there is something that does exist, and this person has put it together. So if you do want to get involved with that, there is going to be a print and play available on the August 18th, which we'll go into further on I think it's a few weeks time, the episode that's scheduled for that. But there is cool PvE stuff that you can experience, and this is one of the individuals that does it. So
that flavor of PvE, by the way, is more of a dungeon crawler, where you have like a little map. I don't remember if it's procedurally generated map, but you do have a little map, and you have encounters that you fight along the way.
I haven't actually tested it or played it or read the rules through as of yet, but I'm looking forward to doing so, because that sounds like something I would play, just like in a board game style. You take it out, and as you explore the dungeon, the tiles and the encounters are different, and you can bring all your mates and just have a whale of a time. But yeah, obviously we can read the full thing out on the one that's scheduled to do so. But yeah, that's cool. Just for while we're on the PvE train, just thought we'd mention that, because that's going to be something that we talk about in a bit.
But I did want to say that I don't think we'll see merchant in the round the table product. We don't know what the 4th class is. I actually don't know what it is. There's no insider information here, but I just don't think it's going to be merchant. It could be merchant.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is. I think they want, since it's going to be a premier product for them, and I think it's going to be one of their premier classes that they want to get people excited for to play like 1v1 Flesh and Blood. That would be my guess, right? Like, hey, if you're making a premier product, you want it to get people into your game, and so you want to present them with like what they should expect in the actual game. Actual game, I mean like you know, if you're gonna go to an armory or a skirmish or something like that. Right, you're not going to see merchant. So if there's a merchant, like if they're like, "Oh, I like this game. It's fun playing multiplayer. I'm going to go in with my, my merchant deck that I got in this round the table product," and everyone's like, "What the hell?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you're going to get absolutely, dunked." So anyway, that's my guess. Who knows? There could be merchant in there. Maybe there's a banger merchant who peddles gold and he's just going to dunk everyone. I don't know, but
yeah. Just comes out of a money gun, shoots the coppers out at people.
We know that there's Mech, Guardian. What was the other one? They said there were 3.
It was a Bard, wasn't it? Melody, wasn't it?
It was Bard, yeah. Mech, Guardian, and Bard. Oh, maybe there's Bard. Maybe there's a merchant. I don't know.
Maybe there is, yeah.
But I think Bard fills that. Bard fills that role though, of kind of like the supporty, group huggy kind of class, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. We will see soon enough. And obviously we've penciled in Brian Gottlieb to return because he designed that product, right? He said he'd come back on to speak about it with us.
Yeah, he helped design that product.
Yeah, I think we have him just like a standing agreement. I don't want to make too many assumptions, but it specifically say like whenever something comes out, I'm glad to talk about it with you, and we're glad to talk about it with him. So
yeah,
exactly. Right up our alley as well, really, isn't it? And then round the table having a laugh situation.
And on top of that, I will be conducting an interview with the professor in regards to that product too. Either the day after it the product is revealed, something like that. We got something cooking, and it's gonna be really close to reveal day for that. So I'm
So you'll see that on obviously. Well, you'll see both of these things on your channel, but you'll see the Living Legends podcast with Brian, and obviously the design and all the card talk and that, and then you'll see the face of the product on one of your videos as well. So that's cool.
Yeah, I imagine the interviews will be fairly different, right? Because the professor didn't, exactly design the cards, but what he did do, as I know, is that he gave a lot of valuable input on the direction of the product, the vision of it, and what they have in mind. Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about. And then when we talk to Brian Gottlieb, we can talk a lot more about like specific cards and designing around their intent for the product, which I believe it is currently like a casual multiplayer thing, but we don't really have a ton of information about it quite yet.
Well, soon enough. So thank you very much for your question, Shorty, as you'll know on your email. And if you want to get involved with the Living Legends podcast, email, comment, questions, and all that sort of thing, it's the Living Legends podcast @gmail.com. So make sure you forward us your stories, comments, and questions, and we can read them out as we go. There's a few other things as well that I've made notes on, which is just basically more stuff that I've had going on. If that's okay to share that as well.
Yes, absolutely.
No, you can't. You can't talk about things.
No.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, sorry, I forgot that word.
No. But yeah, so there's a few videos that have been released on Go Again Gaming. So you got the vlog, which is the Birmingham vlog, which was pretty funny. So that's out now. The Azalea Cult is also out now. The next episode of that, where me and Jim talk about the Azalea stuff that we've been doing over the weekend. So that was another video which is new for potential listeners of this podcast that might not have seen last time we recorded. And then there's another video coming out as well, maybe on Wednesday when this comes out. So after you've listened and viewed this, go and check this out. But it's just me and Jim. Now this is a great thing about being a shit content creator, right? You can just put out whatever you want to put out. So this video is just me and Jim sat in Wetherspoons drinking and talking about about whatever essentially. So it's really bad audio because it was filmed on a GoPro, but it's coming out nonetheless because I don't care.
I'm like, oh no, am I a really shit content creator? Because that's what I do. I just put out whatever I feel like.
No. I think that's the endearing part of it, right? You know, you get to that stage where you can just do whatever you want to do, and I think that's the great thing about a lot of people is that, you know, we just want to do what we enjoy and what we're passionate about. And luckily, with the way my channel's set up, I can just do that. Essentially, I can just swear as much as I want, do whatever I want. You know, loving life nonetheless, drinking drinks, sat in a pub. It's a video. Here we go. As a thumbnail for it, and that's just a great time. But yeah, it's just me and Jim sat in the pub, drinking and talking about Flesh and Blood in general, and maybe some meta stuff as well. Yeah, that's coming out tomorrow. That's quite cool. So that's that. And shouted out the email address. I think that's pretty much it for what I've been doing. Also, we did the Dungeons and Dragons episode 2 yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before?
Yes.
Day before.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I think it's very funny because at this point, I think Kale had sort of anticipated that it was only going to take 2. That it was only going to take 2 episodes. But we, as the boys, have just decided to just take our time and really enjoy the world that Kale put together, and it's really worth it. It's actually so great. Really enjoying just the interactions that we're having. It's really well done. So again, shout out to Kale, Dead Summer Art. Big huge friend of the channel. It's going very well.
Also, episode 1 for that should be ready soonish, hopefully. Sometime.
I think so, yeah.
Sometime soon. But look forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We are taking our time a little bit, but not in the way that some D&D parties do. We don't kind of like wander off and do stuff that doesn't have to do with anything. It's just like we kind of go deep into the stuff. Basically, is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it was planned as a one shot based in the pits, because obviously that's how old this is now, right? We were doing it in the pits because Outsiders was the hotness, and now we're in bloody metrics in bright lights. But there is potential to expand it into metrics after this. So yeah, look out for that. But yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I was just going to say it's going to be a great time. Look out for the first episode. But if you've got something else as well to add, then by all means add.
Oh, I was going to say that we're probably going to do another one regardless of how this one does.
I think so. Yeah, it's great.
We had a good time, and we have some guests in mind for another one, possibly set in metrics. And I kind of just occurred to me that I want to talk to Kale about, like, hey, you know what? Maybe instead of like planning around a 1-shot, maybe let's plan around like a 4-shot and
continuous
and just aim
campaign
to make it as concise as possible, because we were like, well, we'll do it in 1, and it's like 2, and then now we're like, well, I don't want to spoil too much, but we're gonna do it in more than 2. Let's put it that way.
That's right.
So yeah. I think it's gonna be fun. I don't know if I'm gonna play the same character. I don't know if I'm gonna make a new character, but either way, I think it's gonna be for the next one.
Yeah. But, so I think there's but at this point, people aren't going to know, how many episodes there is. But I think there's going to be one more session left of what we've recorded, but hasn't been released yet, I think. But we'll see. Yeah, for that one shot at least. But yeah, I definitely want to do more of it. It's great fun. Can't wait to just. That's the thing. I think in that last episode, this is about insider baseball now, because obviously it goes into what we were doing recently. But in that last episode, obviously Kale was like, have you got another hour to wrap this up? And I didn't have the hour at that point because it was like 2 a.m. in the morning, and I'd work the next day. So I had to sort of do real life things. But the good thing about that is that the last episode of the series is going to be we're going to have more time rather than rushing it, so we can explore it. And my character if people have watched the Azra character profile video that I did a while ago, he's looking for his two brothers. The only place he has not explored fully is the asylum. So he wants to explore every aspect of it, which is why he let Bill go through that bloody door. he wanted to know what was on the other side, so he let him do it. So yeah, it's going to be fun to really sort of explore the Southmore Asylum. The last one.
I'll give a little bit of a teaser to get people anticipated. It was a situation where my character was very much willing to close the door behind them and lock it shut. So look forward to that.
That was funny.
Yep.
But
yeah.
With that being,
I'm having a great time, like I said.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, Bill's character just done an absolute 180 with regards to his demeanor.
Always a little sus. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah. With all that being said, that's pretty much the end of the notes that I've made. It has been sort of here, there, and everywhere, but it's just one of those episodes where it's just going to be loose because there's not too much going on outside of skirmish season. So I did make a note of also competitive side of things. The return of Icelander, because Icelander's been rinsing things left, right, and centre. So I don't know how that's going to evolve, but I think one of the main things is that nobody has Arcane Barrier again, and we saw this with Kano in the first Pro Tour, right? Nobody has Arcane Barrier, so they just rinse it.
I know why. It's because with Oldhim Living Legend, everyone assumed that aggro was going to be the new meta, and what counters aggro? Ice. And so
Tax.
And so you can tech against the aggro meta with Icelander, and if you're a good pilot, you can just get there. And a lot of these aggro decks are greedy as hell, and they're not running a lot of AB, and so
I can definitely vouch for that. I can definitely vouch for that.
Rinse them, yeah. Like it's just a playground for good Icelander players right now.
That's exactly what it is. Definitely. Didn't think about it that way, but as a caster of the US Nats, you're right on the money there, mate. So carry on.
Seasoned Flesh and Blood caster. This is my second time doing US Nats coverage. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any more Flesh and Blood coverage this year. I haven't heard any word. It'd be lovely if they. Well, would it be? It'd be cool if they asked me to do Worlds. I was like, would I want to do Worlds? It means work instead of like fun, but
instead of play.
But at the same time, doing casting at Worlds is kind of cool. Like being able to cast like the World Championship match is like pretty cool.
That's pretty top tier, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll see. I imagine they'll get a lot of similar folks. I imagine you'll see like big ticket caster names like Eric, like Doa, and you got your Tannins and your Flakes and your Brian Gottliebs and stuff. I'm sure they'll all kind of get in there.
Gonna be sick nonetheless. But I mean that's pretty much it for today. So we're gonna. Were you gonna say something else?
I do want to mention one thing. I don't know how much of a topic this is, but
go for it.
It has to do with having a time like now for Flesh and Blood. And what I mean by that is we don't really have a ton to talk about in terms of like new news or anything like that, even though we just had Bright Lights announced. But I think it is, and we're going to see this much more going forward as we approach Bright Lights. But I think it's like something that just happens because Flesh and Blood currently only has like 3 sets a year, and 3 sets a year is only like 4 months. It's like 4 months between set releases, and so like as a content creator, this is something I've thought about a lot. And like if you're a full time, which doesn't really exist, I think I'm probably one of the only ones, if not the only one, full time content creator that focuses on Flesh and Blood. I think it would be very, very, very hard to do only Flesh and Blood currently in that ecosystem. Even other folks out there who are like around my sphere also do occasionally other stuff. And so for example, it'd be like DM Armada, right? DM Armada does mostly Flesh and Blood, but he still occasionally covers other things. Like he put out a video about Grand Archive, he put out a video about Alpha Clash. I don't think there's any Flesh and Blood creator at 10K or above that only does Flesh and Blood, and I think it's because there's just not enough to talk about to sustain like daily uploads, or like I upload like 3 to 5 videos a week, I don't know, maybe 3 to 7 depending on if I'm crazy. But I think they want to shift to 4 sets next year, which I think will help quite a bit for that kind of stuff. And still not really delve into that wallet to fatigue area that a game like Magic has. One of the I wouldn't call it an envy, but one of the things that I noticed that like Magic content creators have that Flesh and Blood content creators don't is they always have news to talk about. Like you have something like new to talk about like every other day for Magic because they're pumping out crap like left and right.
Very true. Yeah.
There's just always something going on. Which is both good and bad, right? If you're a casual fan of Magic, I can't imagine keeping up with that. Like I know the professor barely keeps up with it, and it's literally his job.
That's the reason I stopped playing, because I was only casual as well. I was only playing Commander, but you know, when you're in that, when you got your play group and you're constantly in the arms race for that new card, it's just like I just can't keep up with this anymore. Because there's, you know, all my old decks are now, they're still up there. I still like them and stuff, but you can just add all these other cards to it now. And it's just too much. It's too much stuff going on.
Yeah.
The key is to stop caring. The key is to stop
That's right.
caring. Like I actually still have all my decks too. I have like ungodly amount of commander decks. I have 7 that I think are like really good. Like 7 that are like very nice.
Yeah.
But I'm at the point now where I don't really I pay attention, but I don't really keep up with Magic all that much.
No.
I do want to buy some new stuff, but it's just me just being like, ooh, shiny. Because, for example, there's the new Commander Master set. I'm not going to be buying any sealed product, but there's a new alternate art version of Demonic Tutor, and it looks so good. It is probably the best looking, in my opinion, for me personally, the best looking Magic card that they've printed in a long time. And
I haven't seen that actually. No.
I already own like 5 copies of Demonic Tutor, but I'm like, I want another one. I want this one. Like,
Yeah.
give me. I was really close to buying it, a foil one for like $70, I think it was.
Do you have a spare demonic tutor? Because I still haven't got one, to be honest, and it's why I've wanted it for so long.
At one point they were only $20, and now they are more than $20. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So I for Demonic Tutors, I own an original copy. I have a revised. I know Bill's got the swag. So I own a revised Demonic Tutor. Then I have 2 or 3 copies of the Eternal Masters one that one of them is in Japanese, and then I own 2 copies of the one with Liliana on it, the Divine and Demonic one that has a picture of Liliana and then Kulthafed from the background. One of them I got from the actual Divine versus Demonic set, and the other one was from a mystery booster. So I think I have like, I have a lot of Demonic Tutors, because at one point, like I said, they're only $20, and so I just snatched up a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Literally every black deck that I have has a tutor in it. Yeah.
I was very intrigued. We got to, I think I mentioned this. I don't remember if I mentioned this. But now that it's like a real actual thing, I can for sure talk about it. Wizards actually sent us like Commander Legends early. So we were able to do a draft of it, and we were able to like play with the cards before they had even like really started revealing them at all.
Yeah.
You didn't
so
get
I've
the
had
Demonic
this
Tutor.
pile of cards. I've had this pile of cards on my desk for like a month now, and like just recently now I can talk about them. I was able to steal like a foil jet medallion because I didn't want to spend $50 on a stupid jet medallion.
I have
got
one
an
from
Immortal Sun. There's like a bunch of stuff. They reprinted a bunch of cool things. There was a Toxic Deluge that I just like basically stole from Elliot.
Oh, Immortal Sun was in the reprint as a reprint as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
I run that.
Yeah, I was able to just like take all of these because nobody cared.
Oh,
I was waiting for you to be like,
so hard to get.
and here's my alternate art Demonic Tutor, and I was proving myself to be really jealous. The art was so good. I actually
didn't get one of those. I did get to see the new version of all of the I forget what year they are. They're like the 2019 Commander Precon.
the free ones.
The free spells.
Mm-hmm.
We got one
Some
of
cool
the
ones.
like alternate art, extended art foil ones. It was the black one, Deadly Rollick.
Of
and that
course,
was
yeah.
before we knew that they were being reprinted at all. We pulled like the nicest version of the black one, which was really cool.
Oh wow.
I really like the red one. It's got the dragon who's just like, he's just like blocking the thing.
Deflecting SWAT. Yeah.
The dragon in particular just looks cool. It looks like an old school like Jeff Easley D&D dragon. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a cool set.
So yeah.
Well,
long story short.
Well,
talking about Magic about how we don't play Magic.
Yeah, that's right. Well and truly in the Arsenal step already talking about Magic cards. But it's all the ebb and flow of card games and our enjoyment of it, you know, and all that sort of good stuff. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it for today, I reckon.
I mean, like, yeah, Magic. Yeah, I won't get to it. I was just gonna say, Magic for me, it's a huge part of my life, and it's been a huge part of my life since 1995. And I don't play it currently for many reasons, actually. But I did actually watch their product announcement thing for like the next 3 years that they put out at Gen Con, and I couldn't help but feel like a little bit nostalgic for it to some degree.
Like they still do cool stuff.
Like there's gonna be Fallout Commander decks, and I'm like, I love Fallout, and I'm like
bloody Final Fantasy as well. I'm like,
there's a booster set. There's gonna be a booster set for Final Fantasy. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like they did for Lord of the Rings. Yeah, and then there's gonna be an Assassin's Creed like mini set thing that they're talking about. Like,
I don't understand. I just don't understand why they're doing that though. Because TCG is still a card game. It still exists. So why are they? Yeah, money. I guess that's right.
Give me the money.
Give me the money.
What's popular? Give me money. Like that's basically what it is, right? Some of it's pretty cool. Like, but when I was looking at the thing, I was more excited to see like their new worlds that they're doing. Some of them I was like, yeah, duh. Like they're doing like a cowboy one. And I'm like, well, here's the cowboy one. It's one that we joked about a while ago. I think Professor and I actually joked like just to each other and like, yeah, they're probably gonna do like a cowboy one eventually. And
Wild West set. Yeah,
here's a cowboy one. They're doing like a modern horror one, which is I was on board with until I saw a picture of a dude wearing clothes from like the 80s, and I'm like, oh man, that just kind of like that doesn't feel like Magic to me, even though it's like the in world one. And then like the cute little animal one, like Bloomborough or whatever. It looks cute.
Yeah.
Like I feel like nostalgic about it, but I'm just like, I don't know. It's
too much.
I wish I liked Magic, but I don't much for a lot of reasons, mostly stemming around the company.
I think the thing that's interesting though is there was something that somebody pointed out to me that did make a lot of sense. For a lot of these universes beyond things, I have felt like absolutely nothing. And I think it is mostly because I just don't have really that much of an affiliation with any of the IPs that they've used so far. And somebody pointed that out as well. Like I think it was, I don't remember who it was on Twitter, but somebody on Twitter said like, you know, I was not excited for any of these universes beyond things until they did the Lord of the Rings one. And like Lord of the Rings has been such a huge part of my life that it's super nice to see like these two great loves of mine like finally come together. And I didn't understand it until literally right now. And that sort of gave me that that additional context of like, this isn't for me, but it's for somebody. I can still admit that it's not for me. I'm still not super excited. And like this Doctor Who thing, I've never been into Doctor Who. That's me though. Like that's
same.
I'm like Doctor Who's all right. Robin and I watched the Matt Smith Doctor Who run, but I feel
if it makes somebody else happy, then absolutely. I'm not willing to clown on it as much as I was before, except for the Walking Dead one, because I know the Walking Dead is garbage.
I will say.
Oh right, let's fight.
Oh yeah, I don't really care. I don't really care about the Walking Dead either way, to be honest. But if they if they ever printed a, I actually have I have a sword downstairs.
If they made a Chrono Trigger set,
or
like a Super Mario RPG thing with Gino as like a hero or like a commander that you could play. Yeah,
I don't think Nintendo would allow their properties, but Chrono Trigger is owned by Square, by Square Enix. So that's not out of the question. Even though why would they do that for like an old game from like 1998 or whatever? I would legitimately buy the shit out of a FromSoft one. If they were like, this is Universes Beyond Dark Souls, I would be like, gimme. Buy.
But,
like, yeah.
But what about if we circle this back to the podcast Flesh and Blood related, right?
Universes Beyond Flesh and
Blood. No. Absolutely, Azalea Commander deck. Give it to me. But I mean, what if other IPs infiltrated Flesh and Blood?
No,
would that be?
Nope, I don't like it.
No,
nope.
Exactly.
Nope.
I don't like it because there was one thing that I actually did like about their implementation of a Universes Beyond product in Magic, and I know that again this is the straying away from Flesh and Blood, even though Az tried so valiantly to rein us back in.
Sorry, yeah.
There was when they did the what are they called, the secret lair for Street Fighter, and they implemented Chun-Li with multi-kicker.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
I'm not gonna joke. At one point, I was thinking about making a deck using not the Chun-Li card, but the in-universe version of the Chun-Li card, because she also looks cool. And I was like, I kind of want to build this, but also I don't want to spend any money on Magic, so I'm not gonna build this. I don't like it for Flesh and Blood, and I don't like it for the same reasons that I generally don't like it for Magic. I'm not a big stickler of it. Of like, no, it shouldn't exist, because like I said, I would buy a Dark Souls one. I did buy some of the Lord of the Rings stuff. I bought the Commander decks because I wanted to just have them as a box set. Like I didn't buy them to. I bought them as a board game basically because I like Lord of the Rings. And I bought the Warhammer ones for the same reason. I literally have them all still together in a box over there. And I played them recently with Az actually. And I don't like it for Flesh and Blood, and the reason is I feel like it dilutes the IP and it dilutes the product. It feels, I don't know why, it's hard to quite place it. It just feels cheap or something. I don't know, maybe that's not the right word. It feels like it's being exploited in a way that doesn't feel like genuine. I guess that's the way to put it. It wouldn't feel genuine to me. Like if Flesh and Blood is like, here's our Mortal Kombat thing, and now you can have Scorpion, or this is Icelander, but it's Sub-Zero, and I'm like, I don't want Sub-Zero fighting Dorinthia. Like that's not what I'm here for. It's the same reason I'm like, I don't want to watch a D&D movie and then see like Batman come in and like fight the D&D characters. Like that's not. No. That's not what I want.
I mean, does anybody remember Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny? Is that
I do.
All that Ragnarok manga that you're reading at the moment, where different things fight each other.
Well, it's like gods versus humanity, so it's all kind of in the same world, right? If you assume if you all assume that all the gods live in the same thing, but it's kind of like a God of War thing.
Yeah, but it's like if FAB were to if Flesh and Blood were to do that now and be like, oh yeah, we're going to bring these different IPs in, to me it's like you're telegraphing that you're not confident in your IP that you've built up, and Flesh and Blood's IP and the characters and the fact that it's hero centric, everyone identifies with someone in the game, is so good. So they don't need to do that really. They're building the IP up from the ground. So
I mean, like. Yeah. To me, it just says that they want money, and they're just like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we're just
selling their soul.
And like Bill's right, like there is someone for these products, and they will buy it, and that's what that's what they hope. They hope that people buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're not doing it out of the kindness of their own heart. They're
Yeah.
They're doing it because there's,
Yeah, it
there's
wasn't-
money to be made.
I'm sure some of the
Wasn't-
devs are like, "Oh, this is cool. Like, I love Final Fantasy. I want to make some Final Fantasy cards." I'm sure there are people like on the team. If I was a dev and they were like, "We're gonna do a Final Fantasy set," I'd be pretty stoked. I love Final Fantasy. I'd be like, "Oh, sweet, I gotta make the Black Mage, right?" Or like, "Oh,
Mhm.
sweet,
Well, that's
I gotta make
Yeah.
Sephiroth on a card." Like, that's pretty cool. But
and there's no doubt as well, like they have the resources to fund all original art for those
Yeah.
likenesses as well. Because
yeah.
that's one of the things that you didn't like about the actual card game is that they use screenshots and screen grabs from things and stuff. So there's no doubt in my
Yeah, it
mind
looks
that the
ugly.
Final Fantasy cards are going to look so sick.
yeah,
So
but the funny thing is they're totally gonna look like altars from like the mid 2000s to like
Yeah.
the 2010s. All those card altars that would be like, here's Kalia of the Vast, but it's been altered to look like Sephiroth, like just an anime
Yeah.
Sephiroth. Like that's what the set is gonna look like to me, I think.
Yeah. They just cut
Yeah.
off one of her wings, easy.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like yeah. So anyway, for Flesh and Blood, I would be very vocally against it. Let me put it that way. If LSS
Definitely.
announced something, I would probably put out a video and be like, "Nope, I'm not a fan of this."
Yeah. I would be as well.
Man, especially since they have their own IP that is awesome, and everyone, or at least a lot of people that I know and I see, is clamoring for more of the IP. People want art. They want stories. They want novels. They want movies. Like, people are hungry for more Flesh and Blood stuff, and if they dipped into something else, that would just feel like kind of a betrayal, actually. Now that I think about it, it would just feel like, hey, why are you focusing your attention on something that isn't, the
Yeah.
reason why we love your game? We don't love your game because you have Batman. We love your game because you have Azalea or Levia or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
So this is all under the assumption that they someday do this. I don't think they will anytime soon, if at all. But yeah, even this applies. Like I said, even if they do, like, even if it was like my ideal thing, like even if they're like, hey, this is gonna be a Berserk crossover, which would be rad, but I would still be like, no, stick to Flesh and Blood, and then I would secretly buy the Berserk cards. But
Yeah, just don't tell anybody about it.
Oh, cut this part out. We don't want this part. Anyway, don't give him any ideas, Mr. Big YouTuber. Who would buy anything?
Berserk, man, like, yeah, the Berserk set would be sweet, but also not sweet for the reasons that I said. I'd be against. I'm against it on a fundamental level for Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, diggity ho ho, that was a good little tangent at the end there. So good job bringing that up. That could be one of the things that we named this episode. That was a good convo as well at the same time. But that is, I would say that's pretty much all
Make
we
them
have
wait
time
an
for.
hour to get to it.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. For all those people sticking around at the end, thank you very much for joining us today. I've been Az from Go Again Gaming. You can find me on Go Again Gaming AZ on Twitter and Go Again Gaming Go Again Gaming in general on YouTube. And I'll throw it over to whoever wants to get the baton off of me because I've had it for a while.
I steal the baton. Hi,
Yeah.
Cal. Red Zone Rogue. Everywhere at Red Zone Rogue. Bill.
Bill from Spike Feeders, Bill TSF, and Bill from the Spike Feeders at Spike Feeders Fab on YouTube.
There we go. Brilliant.
He gave a thumbs up, everyone. That's only audio.
it.
Yeah, it was just a big old thumbs up.
Fantastic.
But yeah, anyway, this was a surprisingly full chat, considering
wild.
there's not much going on. But it was obviously some amount of Magic the Gathering stuff. But regardless, I hope that y'all enjoyed.
Yeah,
I certainly did.
Yeah, exactly. Well, next time, if there's nothing to speak about, we can just rant on Magic the Gathering for about an hour. This is now a Magic the Gathering podcast.
Oh God, no.
No, cut it. Cut the episode.
People would be so pissed. Like, I can tell you this, just a little insider baseball. Magic content does not do well on my channel at all, and I think it's because a lot of Flesh and Blood players are ex-Magic players that are fed up with all of the shit that WotC is doing. And I'm with them.
Does like tenuously well on our channel. There are a lot. It's like probably 20% of the comments that we get on our main Spike Feeders channel stuff is all very negative. Like, and it's not even just it's not towards us.
Sounds like Magic.
Sometimes it's towards us. But yeah, it's like negative towards Wizards of the Coast or the product that we're talking about or just Magic as a whole. Like it is, yeah, there's a lot of negativity in there right now.
Like I said, I was watching the thing and I was like, I wish I still liked Magic. I wish I still loved Magic because it's been such a big part of my life, but nope. I still have my stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tried to. So here's the thing. Like I with like Commander Masters, before I saw the prices, I was like, oh, this is so cool. Maybe I'll buy the set and have a little fun with it. And I'm like $300 like booster box. And I'm like, there's no way in hell that I'm like,
no thanks.
I'm like this is the greediest shit I've seen in a since Magic 30, right? Since since the proxy cards. So it's just like, I don't know. I'm just gonna stick to Flesh and Blood and Shadowverse and Grand Archive. Those are great games run by.
We like Flesh and Blood here.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, you know I could buy instead of a box of Commander Masters. I can buy a case of Outsiders, and have fun with the case. That's what I could do. I should buy a case of Outsiders.
Yeah. You could buy an entire copy of Baldur's Gate 3 for the sake of a Magic booster pack these days, which is pretty ridiculous.
You're not actually that far off. I think the collector packs for Commander Masters are close to like $50. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just mental, really. Speaking of which, I'm going to go play this in a moment. So thanks very much for everyone who's tuned in to the very end. And you can email us at thelivinglegendspodcast@gmail.com for any thoughts, comments, and questions. But until next time, that's pretty much it.
Everyone, quickly, who's your favorite Baldur's Gate
It's not.
character?
That's not it. It's more.
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite Baldur's Gate character? Comment down below. Okay, bye.
Yeah. Have a good day.
Cheers.